A peaceful yet morbid scene. Third POV. A strange appearance that all of the sudden took place made everyone just stop and track. Some were close by the garden when it happened while others just saw the leaves and everything around change color. Of course that alarmed some students, and this was how the teacher was found buried beneath the earth with his head above the ground. What the students didn't know was that his head was not connected to his body anymore. The police was called, as was a hero. This time they had hound dog with them, as they were all quite delicate when it came to crimes in a school. Students are most likely to be terrified seeing this, and if they knew the truth behind the cause of death, then they would be even mortified. A bodiless head placed and slightly buried beneath the ground. A body who couldn't be found yet in a garden of plants which all were red instead of green now. It seems as if nature had taken action of their own. No matter how the police looked at this scene, it was something they couldn't quite understand. Sansa. Tasuki. Sukachi. Yes? It was Sukachi who was carefully holding the head, looking at the roots that had attached itself around the cut. It was as if the plants had found something very sweet that they loved and were not about to give it up. The skin was white and pale. The temperatures of the head was ice cold, as if it was preserved and done days ago. The shock still visible on the face was nothing but a scream of disbelief as well as horror. Nothing was telling the detective that the teacher was in pain at his final moments. The cut was even very clean and surely done in one go as well. The question here, however, was, what weapon could have done something like this? Especially in a school with so many children going around. Was this perhaps a quirk? If so, were there more than just one person involved in this? No matter how one looked at it, it was a morbid and very disturbing yet peaceful scene at the same time. Nothing looked quite out of place except the served buried, even planted head, as well as all the red leaves of all the plants. Other than that, nothing was touched at all. Blood-sucking plants, something that could be heard in stories and implemented in so many movies as well as game. However, none of this should be real, since all these plants are normal plants which one could have in their garden. Yet for some reasons these plants had their roots tightly around the head. It was even to a point where the police had to cut some roots to get the head off the ground. Sansa. We might have found the body. Sukachi. Where? Sansa. Well, you won't believe this, but we talked to teacher who is responsible for this area, and he showed us a tree which shouldn't be there. Sukachi. You're telling me that the tree is the body? Sansa. Yes? I know this sounds crazy, but you have to see this. And it is a sakura tree with blood-red flowers too. The detective gave up the head to one of his co-workers and started to follow Sansa around the garden to a tree which was not as tall as a tree and reminded one slightly on a human. Sukachi could see why his fellow comrade was suggesting something like this, as there was a tree that looked close to a Jesus statue as he was hanging by the cross. Just without a head. Instead, there was a very tight net of flowers around it and the part where the hands should be. This tree was quite small, and if one would look at it closer, it seemed as if it was newly placed there as well. Sukachi. My God. Sansa. Yeah, we didn't see this tree when we got here because of the tight rose bush before it. It is quite well hidden, but, well, the gardening teacher did point it out. Sukachi. And Izuku? Sansa. Safe inside. Sukachi. That is his history teacher if I remember correctly. Sansa. It is. Sukachi. Fuck. We need to find that asshole who is responsible for this fast. Sansa. Hey, calm down, friend. NYA. Sukachi. I won't. It is my son's life who could be at stake here. All the crimes so far have him involved in some ways. Someone might be going after me and my family since he is the most precious thing to me. Sansa. We do have enough enemies. Sukachi. That is what I feared too. Sansa. So what should we do? Sukachi. Unroot the tree and take it with us. We have to find out how this happened, and maybe the body can give us some more clues about it. Sansa. And the scene? Sukachi. Too clean. No one saw anything happening. No cameras around here, and it's not as if not anyone could come here since the school fences are quite low. Sansa. True, but no one can do a perfect crime. Sukachi. I fear we are standing on one, and this will not be the last one yet. Sansa. Should we ask a hero to stay with you at all time? Or more of our people? Sukachi. And make Izuku anxious? No thank you. I know my boy and he would quickly come to the conclusion that we are hunted and it is not over yet. I don't want to put him in such a spot. Sanza. But aren't you already in such as a spot? Sukachi. He doesn't have to know about this. At least not yet. Sanza. Alright but. Promise me you will call for backup when you need it. Sukachi. I will. These two police officers were trying their best to figure out how the teacher died or what had happened. However, there were absolutely no clues around to follow at all. There were no footsteps in the soft moisture ground or blood splashes or even a weapon at all. It almost seemed as if this whole scene was completely created and unnatural.